Welcome back to Rewired and Desired, where intimacy, mindset, and disability intersect. My name is Nicole Richards. I am your co-host, along with my lovely co-host. Co-host? We're both,
I know,
right?
we're both.
Trina Ricketts, the intimate
Woohoo!
ostomate. And today we are going to be talking about parenting while ill. This is a very sensitive topic, I would say, probably to
Yeah.
Trina and I both.
Mm.
Um, I think almost just to bring saying that, I'm kind of actually emotional just thinking about
Me
it.
too.
But I'm gonna hold myself together because I think Trina and I have both been through the ringer when we talk about this as single parents, and so I think we have a
Mhm.
lot to say.
Yes. I know
Trina,
I'm
I'll
feeling
let you
emotional
start.
too.
I know.
So
It is
when I
difficult.
got sick, it was I've mentioned in other episodes, it was caused by a vaccine injury. It was not the COVID vaccine. It was the Twinrix vaccine, which is a Hep A B shot. And when your body goes through like a very toxic exposure and can't detoxify fast enough, it's like you got in a car accident. It's
Mhm.
like your life, you have your life one day and the next you don't. And I mean, it was a little more gradual than that. Like over the course of a few weeks, I started to feel sick and I started to get like neurological
Mhm.
symptoms. But then all of a sudden, one day, I couldn't work. I couldn't drive.
Mm.
I couldn't get out of bed. I felt like I was going to faint every time I stood up to walk. I was having seizures. I was like, and the doctors were like, oh, it couldn't be from the vaccine. And so I didn't know what was wrong with me. They were sending me from specialist after specialist. And even my husband and his family didn't believe me. They thought I was faking it. It
Yeah.
was so insane. It was, they never took me seriously until the emergency surgery that I had my first ostomy. But doctors didn't, and my husband and his family didn't. But anyway, it was such a lonely time. But the hardest part of it was that I had two young children at the time, the first ostomy, and I couldn't be much of a mother to them. Like I could barely get one house cleaning thing done a day. Like today I'll do the dishes, tomorrow I'll do the floors, the next day I'll do the
Mhm.
laundry. Oh God, 3 days of dishes again. And my husband hated that I wasn't keeping up with the housework.
You're right.
Even though I worked part-time, like even sick, I always tried to find work from home types of things that I could do on the
Mhm.
computer. But it was just like so stressful. And my kids were like, they were just all of a sudden, mom d can't stand up anymore. Mom's constantly lying down. Mom's constantly in pain. Mom's constantly going to the hospital and going to the doctor and like literally like just so sick
Mm.
and no one could help me. It was just the worst feeling ever.
Yeah.
Um, I used to lie in my bed and let my kids draw on me with felts
Oh, wow.
because I couldn't do anything and I just wanted
Yeah.
to spend time with them.
Yeah.
And I would let like I would give my son a whole thing of Scotch tape and let him like tape spider webs all over the house and stuff because I just couldn't entertain him, you know, and
Yeah.
he needed so much entertaining and he would build Lego cities all over the house and we would like step around them because he'd get upset
Mm.
if we broke them down. But
Mm.
like it was just like I couldn't keep up with the housework and I couldn't keep up with like the needs of my children. And at night, I would, to try and overcome that, or not overcome that, what's the word? Compensate for that.
Yeah.
At night, I would lie down with each of them for like 20 minutes at bedtime, one at a
Mm.
time. So it was one at a
Mm.
time. And we would just talk and we'd bond. And my
Mm.
husband would yell at me like, they need to go to sleep. And I'm like, I'm at this point in my life, I'm like, they need to spend time with their mother, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And like, this is the only time every day that we're both calm and quiet and we can spend some time together.
Mm.
It was just insane. And I think it was like I had moments when I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to continue to raise my kids
Yeah.
and that they would have to be like taken care of by their father or my parents.
Mm.
And there was even the second ostomy time where I was back together with my husband and we have a third child now and I'm so sick and our marriage is so toxic and he's
Yeah.
such like I feel like such a burden that I
Yeah.
didn't even want to live anymore and he he like was good in my mind. If I left him, I'd have to leave my children.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I couldn't
Right.
do
Because he
that.
was helping taking care of them
Yeah, because I
a
was
little
too
bit,
sick.
as
A
much
little
as he
bit,
could.
not much. Yeah.
Right. But
Funny you
enough
say
that
that, but
you
yeah.
had enough that you needed him there.
Yes. Like he would
Yeah.
drop our daughter off at daycare every morning. And
Yeah.
that whole day that she was at daycare, I wouldn't be struggling with a 2-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
So it was, yeah. So he was helping in those ways. So, but as soon as I was well enough, and I'm not saying I was great, I was still had a
Right.
lot of health issues, but as soon as I was well enough that I could take care of my kids and have them in my basement suite where we, going from a full nice house to like a tiny little basement suite, it didn't matter because the peace was just so amazing. As soon as I was well, I left him and then, but
Yeah.
my kids just, they struggled. They had
Yeah.
to put up with like my pain and help me get dressed sometimes and call the ambulance or visit me in the
Mm,
hospital. Like it's just been such a they've been my caretakers, you know?
yeah. But sounds though that you did, I mean, I'll say that you did a better job at like bonding than I did. And not because I couldn't have, I just, there was other stuff going on. But I will say that I think you did a really good job at making sure that you could connect as much as you could, you know?
Thank
So I
you.
will give you that props because that's not easy, when you know that your body just wants to give out and lay in bed all day,
Hmm.
you still did what you had to do. So
Well,
that's good.
at that time, they didn't know what was wrong with me. So I thought I could die any day.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, all that matters is to try and spend time with
Yeah.
my children because
Yeah.
I could die any day. And my husband treated me like I was faking my illness.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
in my head thinking I could die any minute.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what's going on with my
So
body.
invalidating. Mm.
It was horrible.
Yeah, so I would say so my it's so funny. We have so much in common. Like it's so crazy to think that, if you and I do, that there's plenty of other people who do as well. And even some of them like you had your husband kind of in and out. The father of my kids was kind of in and out too during a lot of this. We were on
Mhm.
and off. But I didn't have as much, I think, like home illness as you did. So from
Mhm.
in my story, it was more like my Crohn's pain would be, I mean, I would have to hide in the bathroom for like a good hour or two.
Mhm.
And I mean, I thought I was dying, because of the level of pain. And so
Mhm.
my kids really, what they experienced was hearing me crying in the bathroom or
Mhm.
seeing me be depleted of energy all day because I was up all night just trying to go to the bathroom,
Mhm.
or vice versa, too much, right? And so the only time that I'd say it was like this really extended period was when I had my first resection done and I got C. diff in the hospital. They sent me home. Um, Thankfully, at that time, my ex just came to stay with me and kind of help me through that. But we had a really toxic relationship, so it was better that we weren't together. Now,
Mhm.
he did come and stay and help me with the kids that time, and had he not have, I probably would have died and they would have found my body
Wow.
because I had 100, almost 105-point fever, didn't know even that I was sick because I was so out of it.
Mhm.
Um, and so like after that initial first surgery, they sent me home and I stayed home for a good 2 or 3 days, literally abscessing and just dying essentially. And he took me to the hospital and got me to the
Mhm.
hospital. And thankfully, right, because my kids would have found me and they had already seen enough. Now
Mhm.
I'm back in the hospital and was there for another like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was my kids had to see a lot of that. They had to see a
Mhm.
lot of just mom um
Suffering.
in suffering and pain and then that one extended period of time, but then they also saw, I mean, I had a lot of mental health issues and I was a really checked out mother,
Mhm.
and I think a lot of it had to do with one, like you said, not being seen or heard for all those years of suffering and pain, and no
Mhm.
one knew or no probably thought I was faking it too, like needing
Mhm.
attention or whatever. That wasn't it. But when your physical health doesn't get handled, it turns into mental
It
health.
does. It
And the
does.
same with your mental health. If you don't get your mental health in
Mm.
check, your physical health, it's a
Oh yeah.
constant spin.
Like I
And
know if I have really, really bad anxiety, like the kind where I feel sick to my stomach with shame
yeah.
and just like when I feel like the worst anxiety ever,
Hmm.
then I know I'm about to get sick. I
Oh.
don't know if it's the sickness that's triggering the anxiety or vice
Hmm.
versa, but I know that that's a sign for me I'm gonna get sick. I'm either making myself sick
Yeah.
or this is my body saying you're in crisis,
Yeah.
one or the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
And
That's good awareness.
and
That's
mentally, like the word, like even years, it's been years of me doing self-work,
hmm.
like you,
Hmm.
like we
Oh yeah.
we've grown, right? And still, when I get sick, I immediately start feeling like I'm worthless. I'm a burden. I'm
Hmm.
like I'm I don't want to ask for help because I don't want to be a
Hmm.
burden on others
Yeah.
again. And oh, I'm getting emotional.
Aw.
And it's just like it's because of those years of feeling like a burden when I was
Yeah.
at my weakest, most vulnerable and being treated like, and you're trying to take care of your children. You're trying
Yeah.
to take care of your
Yeah.
children while all of
Yeah.
this is going on. And it's so difficult, or even
Hmm.
like scrolling social media, like the shaming of other parents for letting your kid watch TV or go
Yeah.
on their phone or be on technology too much and like,
Yeah, you
oh,
have
the
no
the
idea,
technology babysitter. And it's like, yeah, fuck yeah. The
but you have no
technology
idea.
babysitter has like saved me sometimes when I
Yeah.
can't do anything, and I can
Hmm.
barely get up and make my kids a shit dinner like chicken fingers or something,
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
healthy because I'm so sick I can barely take care of them,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like or myself.
100%. So I thought of these four things that, like, if I were to be sick again and be a mom, even as a single mom or not, these are four things that I really wish I would have done differently. So one is focus on getting yourself healthy,
Mhm.
regardless,
Yeah.
because if you can't honestly be like, it sounds selfish, right? Like, think of yourself first, but you
Hmm.
have to,
Yeah.
because I've always said you can't take care of other people unless you take care of yourself, right? It's just like
Hmm.
it's like the oxygen mask when it comes down on the plane. I mean, I've never been on one when it did, but they
Yeah.
tell you
Yeah.
put yours on first because you can't help somebody else.
Hmm.
So that's the most important thing, I
And
think. Number,
people could go back to our health video because like I don't know about you, but I didn't feel like I was taking care of my health or getting
mhm,
better until I started taking control of my own health
yeah,
and saying, fuck doctors.
right,
They
right.
they're not helping me. They're making me sicker.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
go into the hospital, you come out with C. diff. Like
Yeah,
the food they feed you, like it's just like they're not helping. They're making it worse. Fuck doctors. I need to find a way to get better. And that's when
hmm,
I started to get better.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. The mindset.
Yeah.
You know how I talk about the mindset.
Hmm.
So important. And which is my number two, dropping the guilt and the shame.
Mm.
Because you're gonna feel guilt and shame, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
for being sick. However, we didn't ask for it. It's nothing we did.
Yeah.
It wasn't drug use. It wasn't alcohol
Yeah.
use. It wasn't
Yeah.
whatever. It was none of that, right? It was just
Yeah.
inheritedly given to us. So you have to drop that guilt and shame. This is
Hmm.
something you were given. It's a lesson in life that you have to just kind of get through. And so
And if you let your kids watch TV too long, don't worry about it.
don't feel guilty about it,
You're
right?
doing the best you can,
Right.
know?
And part of that, I think, is being open and honest with your children. I wish I would have sat down my children and said, "You guys, I'm sick," and instead of them just seeing it, and knowing it, and hearing me talk about it, like
Yeah.
me sitting down and talking with my children. So if
Hmm.
you are someone who has an ostomy or an illness or some kind of anything, right? Maybe it's a mental health illness,
Hmm.
telling your children, what that means, and
So
then
important.
teaching them about that illness.
Yeah.
And then how to live a healthier life, because I know for a fact, had I have lived a less stressful life, like you said, stress caused yours, right, Trina?
Hmm.
I know stress caused mine. I grew up in an abusive home. And then I went into an abusive, physically and mentally abusive two relationships.
Hmm.
And stress was just there. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't until you gain, like, I guarantee you, Trina, you feel healthy, correct?
Yeah, I feel pretty healthy now. Like with the ostomy, that's been a game changer.
That's been part of it too. But it's
Hmm.
also the fact that you mentally and physically
Mentally, yes. Yeah.
got better.
And like even when I do get sick, like with the ostomy, I've had dehydration issues where I literally like have had
Yeah,
to get an ambulance come and take me out of my bed in a
right?
stretcher. Like that's insane. But even at those moments when I'm starting to go into that spiral of I'm unworthy, I'm a burden.
Mm-hmm.
My family be better off without me. I don't want to
Hmm.
ask for help. Like when my head starts going there, I have tools now to get through
Yes.
that. Like I use stoicism and I think like, well, actually this is just a human disease. Humans go through this. I'm human, so why wouldn't I go through this? It's just
Yeah.
normal part of being human.
Yes.
It's not gonna last forever. I just need
Right.
to get through this, you know.
Yep.
And
I
and
agree.
and then I can get myself and then I'm like ask for help, just ask
Hmm.
for help, and I
Yep.
tell myself the things I know that I should be saying to myself instead of the things that I used to just lie there thinking and feeling
Hmm. Yeah.
horrible about myself.
And you get there sooner.
Yeah.
Before what would have
Oh, I
been a
heal faster.
spiral. Yeah,
I
you
I
heal faster.
heal
And
faster.
before it would have been like a spiral for like 10 days. And now it's like a shift in minutes. For me, I noticed a
Hmm.
shift sometimes in minutes. I'm like, wait a minute, why am I thinking that thought? Maybe that's not even my thought. I'm picking up on the collective. But either
Right.
irregardless, it's affecting me and I have to fix it. You know,
Hmm.
it's a lot easier now. So
Yeah.
yes, so really teaching your kids and really talking, getting through that guilt and shame. And then three, finding support systems is
Mm.
important. So not only just like, okay, like as a single parent, that's hard, right? I was sick plenty of times, or like, I don't know, even sometimes my mom, she'd bring me to like a surgery, like I had a hysterectomy, drop me off at home and take off. And
Hmm.
I'm stuck at home with three kids, have a
Right.
hysterectomy, not very good, not very good idea.
Hmm.
So anyways, so there's that, but the community also within like our groups, like our ostomy
Hmm.
body positive
I know.
community,
They're
like all
great.
the Facebook group communities, or whatever your specific like illness is, that kind of community.
Hmm.
And then I will say the
I think that
fourth,
can also be harmful though, just to interject a little bit because
yeah.
like I remember when I was starting to have they were like diagnosing me with ulcerative colitis and then Crohn's and I started joining all these Crohn's groups and there was so much negativity and so much pharmaceutical pushing in those
Hmm.
groups. Like I wanted to join those groups to find out if the drugs that the doctors were suggesting that I take were working for other people.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so all these people would be like, "Oh, yes, it's made my life so much better, so much better." And then I'd be like, "So you never go to the hospital anymore?" And they'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, no, I was just there last weekend." Like
Yeah.
all of them are still going to the hospital yet still. And
Right.
I'm like, "But how are you better if you're still like my goal was no
Yeah.
more hospital visits." Like
Yeah.
I used to put up my hospital bracelet on the wall with a tack and then write the date and I'd be like, I'm gonna try and make it 6 months without going to the hospital.
Mm.
And then I'm gonna try and make it a year. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I
Yeah.
wanted to stop going to the hospital.
For
It was
sure.
so emotional and
Oh yeah.
traumatizing.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, like I think the groups can sometimes really be like negative and bring you down. Like
Well,
I had to like leave those groups because I couldn't
oh
believe
yeah,
how
I've heard that. I mean, I've heard people say that, and I've never really spent a lot of time in other groups,
yeah.
but
But
like
the
the
when you have ostomy body positive, I love that group. Everybody
so, and
like
that's what I've heard, that people like
amazing.
say that, like it's a positive. I mean, well, it's I guess the title's in the word, in
The
the words
title
in the title.
attracts the right people. It does.
Yeah.
Like we get the
Yeah.
odd person in there that's really triggered or rude or
Yeah.
insecure. But for the most part, everybody's
Yeah.
trying to support each other to feel good about our bodies,
Yes. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's so important when you've had a huge body
Yeah.
change. But yeah, we're getting off
Yeah.
topic.
And help each other with, just life with an ostomy or certain illnesses that, have an
Yeah.
ostomy.
I
Um,
was gonna say as far as support systems too, like single, yeah, like there's issues with that. Even if you do have someone like your ex come and stay with you and then they make it worse. Like I had that once after a surgery where my ex came to stay with me and I was like all high on morphine and he's taking care of the kids and I'm like, I'm so fucked up. I can't even like do anything. I hate
yeah.
morphine, by the way. But he's being such a jerk to me and the kids that it's making me feel worse. And so I
Mm,
just told him to leave. And so
yeah.
then next thing you know, I'm driving with like surgery shit all over me and dragging
Yeah.
my three kids around a grocery store because I couldn't depend on the person who was going to help me, or
Hmm.
other situations like you probably been through this too, where you're actually in a relationship with someone, they're not helping you,
Yeah.
but all of your friends and family think they're helping you because
Yeah.
they're your
Yeah.
partner,
Right. Yeah.
and
Mine
that's
was,
my situation for a long time.
no, he was good when he was there, but he
That's
was an
good.
alcoholic. So when he decided not to be there, he wasn't there at all.
Yeah.
So we would literally roll in the driveway and all his stuff would be gone. And it was like, oh, okay. So I guess he's gone for a while.
Sounds like my last boyfriend.
Gosh, we could talk all day about this crap. Anyways, the fourth thing and I think this is really important. It's to grieve while you are in the process
Hmm.
because I did not do that.
Hmm.
I stuffed it down because that's how I was taught to grow up anyways, is everything gets swiped under the rug, you
Hmm.
fix it, you move on real quick.
Hmm.
Dust it off, brush it off, and get
Me
up.
too.
But
I was raised like that too.
that
I
is
was
not the way it should
I was
be.
raised that I was selfish if I got
Right?
upset about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I even feel that way sometimes with my kids. I know that I've told them, stop crying. You don't need to cry. And it's like, wait a minute. I should have been embracing those
Yeah.
tears all
But
those
I mean,
years.
our parents, just like us, are doing the best that we all can
Yes.
with what
Yes.
we've got. Like,
With
I
what
don't,
we have.
I had resentments when I was younger, but now I feel like when you become a parent, you start to let go of the resentments you had of your own parents because you start to go through all those phases with your
Yes.
own children. And you're
Yes.
like, some things you're like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't do it like my parents. But some things you're
Right.
like, I'm glad
Now you
my
see
parents
why.
taught me this. Or, yeah, you
Yes.
see why they made the mistakes they did
Yeah.
or said the
And
things
I
they
think
did.
we get better each generation too, though. Like I
Yeah.
always told my daughter, even before she had kids, you will be better than me, and
Hmm.
I will hopefully parent better than my mom did.
Yeah.
And that's and I
I
and I
I've
think that's
always
true.
said it like this, like our grandparents fucked up our parents fucked us up, and we're gonna fuck up our kids. It just
Yeah.
gets a little less fucked up every generation.
That's so true.
But you
But
never
yeah,
know. We could be doing worse than previous
that's
generations because
true.
you look out in a society and you're like, whoa, what is going on? Like people are
True.
losing their minds. But I think a lot of that has to do with like what is out of parents' control, like
Yeah.
what they're being taught at school, what they're
Social
seeing on social
media.
media,
Mm,
porn, like
yeah.
everything. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
affecting our youth.
Yeah. 100%. But yeah, so not stuffing it down too, because like holding that stuff in creates
Hmm.
more disease.
Yeah.
Dis-ease creates the disease, and
Hmm.
you want to work it out, whether it's with a therapist, a coach like Trina and I,
Hmm.
that give you the tools, that practical tools that's worked for us and things that have gotten us through it. That's really important. And yeah, that's what I
Hmm.
had, those four
I
that
was
I
kind
thought
of
were really
lucky
important.
that way. I think like probably what really helped me when I got sick was that I'd already read a book that had started me on my road of like self personal
Mm,
transformation. It was There's a Spiritual Solution for Every Problem by
mm.
Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Oh yeah,
And
Wayne
it was
Dyer's
the
good.
first, like, I'd read spiritual books like Celestine Prophecy and different things when I was young, but that book was the first one that I ever read where I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm controlling. I'm selfish. I take out my moods on other people. Like I
Hmm.
never had looked at myself and it was everyone else's fault until I read that book. And then it was so liberating and empowering to
Yeah.
like break down those beliefs about myself and about the world around me and
Yeah.
start to grow and change. And that happened like maybe a year, let me think. just a couple years I read that book, a couple, two, maybe 3 or 4 years before
Mm.
my vaccine injury.
Mm.
And so I was already like starting to do that work, So when
That's
it
good.
happened,
That's really good that you
yeah,
started like before that. I
yeah.
didn't have that, so that's good.
It did help me so much through
Oh
it,
yeah.
like so
Yeah.
much. And that's
That's
why
and that's why
yeah,
oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say that's why when I had my last ostomy surgery and someone recommended me a book called The Fighter, I read it because I was like, I need to fight like the fears I'm having right now. And I read that book and it taught me about visualization. And I used
Hmm.
visualization to get through my surgery. And it is
Yes.
like the biggest, best thing that I did.
Yeah. For me, it was like it wasn't any more like ostomy stuff, but it was that accident. And I talk about it a lot, but I will say I wouldn't have got through this
Mhm.
accident being literally in my room for like 8 months, like not moving much. I wouldn't have got through that without all the knowledge that got me that I learned after all my ostomy related and Crohn's related issues. So it is the work. People, it's that
Mhm.
self-development work. It's the personal development. It's the spiritual development.
And when you're
It's all
sick,
those
yeah,
things.
when you're sick, it's hard to even imagine doing any of that work, but you can do it more easily, like by listening to podcasts, listening to
Hmm.
audiobooks. I wanted to acknowledge too, like there are parents, and I came very close to being one of them, who can't take care of their kids because they're so
Yeah.
sick. And
Yeah.
so our kids, we end up maybe not losing our kids, but having them move and be taken care of by someone else while we're going through all of this, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
And that I know as a parent would bring me like so much pain and shame,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming it probably does that for other parents. So I want to
Yeah.
acknowledge that
Uh,
that's
y-
similar to what
yes.
you were saying before, Nicole. Like don't like be ashamed of something that was out of your control, you
Well,
know?
that was exactly where it was. My kids actually had to go live with their dad. Like he finally in the last like 10 years really cleaned himself up and
Mhm.
um which was perfect timing because when I was in my dark, dark night of the soul, it was after a couple suicidal ideations. I had to put myself in the hospital for and spend time there for thinking that way. But I, it's when I don't know, my daughter was about 16 or 17 and my son was like 12 and they had to go stay with their dad for a few years while I figured it out.
Mhm.
Not just it was because it was a combination of ostomy, Crohn's, mental health, um, the abusive relationships, all those things like came to a head.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm glad you acknowledged that because that was one part I left out, but it was hard to let them go
Mhm.
because as a mom, that's all you know. And it's
Mhm.
like, it's part of though that control too, though like
Yeah.
you think you're the only one who can do it, but
Yeah.
sometimes you have to release that
Yeah.
and let them go a little bit. And that empty nest, ooh, I would get to every day, and this just really even just since now my kids are all adults, but uh every day at about 3:30 or 4, I would get depressed and I
Oh.
didn't know why.
Coming
And
from me, my daughter graduates in my youngest graduates in 3.5 years.
empty nest is a girl, it's a thing.
I could see it totally being a thing because like when my most recent ex and I split up, we all lived in a house together, him and his son, me and my 3 kids, and I moved away. And the week that I moved away, so my son, all of our kids were moving into their own places. And except for my youngest daughter, my 15-year-old, she's 15 now, she wasn't then.
Hmm.
But when we moved away, she was at her dad's for a week. And I thought that's perfect. That gives me a week
Yeah.
to unpack, set up her room. But for that whole week, because it was the first time I'd been alone in a house
Yeah.
anywhere for a whole week, and I'd just gone through this really heartbreaking breakup, and my older children had moved out. Oh, I'm getting emotional.
Yeah.
And then my daughter wasn't there, and I never like even imagined I would feel that way because I value my alone time so
Yes,
much.
yes,
I
yes.
thought it was going to be amazing to have that alone time, but I actually felt really like sad like almost the whole week
Mm,
and couldn't wait for my daughter to get home, you
mm,
know?
I do know. Yes. I know. It's yeah, I'd say up to that, prepare yourself for that because it is going to
Yeah.
get hard. And it's like what I noticed, like things will come up that you didn't even know would, like, why is that triggering?
Hmm.
It'll just be little things, you'll see kind of come up. But
I could see that.
I can see, eventually it passes. I mean, now I'm like alone all the time and I love my alone time. And
You're used
I
to it.
still spend plenty of time with my kids and
Yeah.
as much as I can. But yeah, it's okay now. Everything's
Hmm.
good. Yeah, you'll do it. You'll do it too.
Ah, yes. The
Yeah.
phases of our lives, right? I think like as far as parenting goes, the hardest part was when they were really young.
Yeah.
It's like you don't even have you like mom life? No. No, 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 no. There's no mom
Hmm.
life. There's
Right.
like if you could fit in a night out with your friends, that's gonna set back mom life because
Yes.
now you feel like shit. And if you're nursing and you
100%.
drank, you gotta like get all
Yes.
like it's
Yes.
just
Been there, done that. Yes. I don't miss those days either, though. I don't miss
uh,
those days of wanting to be out at the club. And now I'm like,
no, me
now I could go
neither.
do, now you could do whatever you want. You're like, why would I want to do
I know.
that? I want to stay home and lay in bed.
I know.
It's so
That's
weird. It
hilarious.
is. It's like Stevie Nicks changes. The changes
Yeah.
her song. I don't know
Yes.
if that's even the
I
name of the
love
song,
that.
but it's how the song goes.
I love that song. Yeah.
It's so true. It's like,
Hmm.
but we're in our, well, late 40s, early 50s
Early
now, right?
50s. Yeah.
So, I think these are going to be the years. And
These
today's
are our
the
years.
start of the year of the fire horse.
Really?
Oh, it's a very powerful next 4 days. So 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. There's also a solar eclipse on the 20th and like a really crazy planetary alignment on the 20th. So the next 4 days, 5 days are going to be very powerful. But the most important thing, it's the year of the fire horse. And back in 1966, there was a lot of women's liberation movement and civil rights movement. So I think there's going to be a lot of that because, everything kind of comes in patterns, life and patterns. So this is the year. This is the year for everybody
Hmm.
to start to make changes. So however that change looks for you, maybe it's
Yeah.
getting out more and maybe it's talking to your kids more. Maybe it's, hooking up with a coach or taking a course or joining a Facebook group, but something to get you out of your um get on the horse and ride and the
Yeah.
saddle and put your shit kickers on
Well,
or
honestly, and I've said this recently in a podcast I did on my own channel, that it's a choice.
yeah.
It is a choice to continue to be miserable, continue to be
Yeah.
heartbroken over your life circumstances, continue to be a victim and feel sorry for yourself. And I'm not judging because I've been that person
Me
100%.
too.
I'm not judging, but I had to make a choice that I
Hmm.
didn't want to live like that and do the
Yeah.
work to get out
Yeah.
of that. And that's
Same.
why, like, I wish I had a coach at the time now
Hmm.
because, like, I didn't, back when I first had my first ostomy, like, it was a surprise and I wasn't,
Yeah.
I didn't even think to like look for ostomy groups or anything.
Right.
Like, I was just oblivious. I had no idea what I was doing. And now in today's connected age, technological age, hopefully more people. Even this time, I had someone with an ostomy I reached out to asking for advice, and she said, join an ostomy support group. And I was
Mm.
like, duh, why didn't I think of
Yeah.
that? So
Yeah.
I joined a couple Facebook groups, but even there, like it was similar to the Crohn's group thing where I had people who were
Hmm.
really negative,
Hmm.
that I would be reading things that just brought me down all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not just because people vent, like people vent, that's fine. But I mean like where I would say like something about natural healing, and then someone would come in like attack me, or
Hmm.
there would be like a whole thread of people complaining, or just stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like
Yeah.
at least on ostomy body positive group, you'll do like a thread of people complaining, and I can just skip that one. Like I'm way too sensitive to other people's difficulties to read it all. Like we had a shooting here recently in Canada,
Mm,
a school shooting where a
mm.
child went into the school and shot a bunch of other children. And like I can't, I just can't. I can't
Oh no,
watch
I
the
know.
news. I can't listen
Yeah.
to it. It impacts me. It'll wreck
Yeah.
my whole day.
Yeah.
I have to like, I just can't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Too
Yeah. No,
sensitive.
I do. I
And
do.
I've heard someone say that those of us who think we're empaths, those of us who feel like we can feel energy from
Yeah.
other people, that the reason where most of us, if not all of us, are like that is from trauma. It's
Yeah.
from learning that we have to be so sensitive to every little shift in energy to know what to expect from the people in our lives that have been unpredictable, like
Mm.
as children or
Wounded
in relationships.
healers. Wounded healers, right?
Yeah, ooh, I like that. That
Hmm.
makes sense. Wounded healers. Hmm.
And not that we're still wounded, but that we
Yeah.
were wounded, and that's why we can pick it up. And that's why we have that in the background. It's always kind of playing, it's always watching for that next move or that next signal or that next trigger. But but that's how we are able to help people though.
Hmm.
It's because we lived there, but we
Yeah.
also pulled ourselves out of it. So,
Yes. Well, and I believe that's the only way that you can help people. Like I've
yeah.
been to so many doctors that have never been sick a day in their lives.
Yeah.
You know,
Or
they have no,
therapists.
yeah, they have no idea like what I'm going through. They have no idea. None.
Hmm.
Zero. Some of
Hmm.
the advice they give, I'm just like, what? And like you said, therapists, like it's like I don't think you know what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, if you haven't been through it, you can't. You cannot understand it. You
Yeah,
can't.
I had a gastroenterologist tell me to help my diarrhea, I should take Metamucil and then 2 glasses of water. It's like, no,
Metamucil,
it's supposed to be Metamucil in like an ounce of and like 2 ounces of water if you
yeah,
want to slow it down. You know
yeah.
what I
Even
mean?
Metamucil's bad for you though.
Because
It's
it's full
like
of sugar. Yeah, it's full of sugar.
concrete. Yeah, turns into concrete in water.
But yeah, psyllium husk though, it can be good for you. It's probably not very good for someone with a colostomy, but for someone with an ileostomy, if you want to slow your food down and absorb your nutrients, you can take a little bit of it in a little bit of water before a
Little
meal.
tiny.
And but if you want to like people take it to make them go more. And he was like gonna make my diarrhea worse if I would have believed him and listened to him, but I was like, doesn't that make you go to the bathroom more?
Right, right.
And you know, like, but he's sitting there, never, he's a gastroenterologist. He's never had gastroenteritis. You know what I mean? Like he has no idea what he's
He's read
talking
some
about.
books about it, but
He would literally like corner me in my hospital bed and try to convince me to get on immune suppressant drugs. And I'm not judging people for taking them at all. Everyone's journey is their own. I do not judge.
yeah,
But me, I didn't want to take them. But I was
yeah.
so at his mercy and he was filling out my disability forms that I had to pretend that, oh, yes, I will soon, doctor. I'm just trying one more thing.
That's awesome.
We could do a whole episode on like ways to manipulate the medical system
Yeah.
so that doctors treat you better and you get more of what you
I may just need to listen to that one because I don't know anything about it yet. I'm still trying taking notes here, okay?
I could probably write a book.
Right, right. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think we covered it. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a heavy episode because obviously when it comes to being a mother when you're sick, it's such a painful, difficult, challenging experience
Yeah.
and well worth it and rewarding.
It opens up old wounds, but we have the tools that even today, you and I can both do what we need to now that we've talked about it again.
You know,
And
to
that's
end
okay.
on a good note, there's something that has happened with my kids and maybe yours too that I'm not sure it would have happened if I wasn't sick. And
Mm.
that is that we are just so close. And my
Hmm.
kids never went through like like terrible teens. None of them did.
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
think a large part of that was because my whole view of my relationship with my kids was I want to bond with them. I want them to trust me. I want them to feel like they can talk to me about anything. I don't want them to ever feel like I'm mad at them or that I am disappointed in them. I still
Yeah.
thought they still felt that way sometimes. Would be like,
Yeah.
why are you
Yeah.
talking to me like that, mom?
Yeah.
Like I'm
No,
not
that's
perfect, but the goal was to try not to make them feel that way. And so
right.
I think that helped a lot. And a lot of that was because my whole perspective on what was important
Yeah.
in my life and in my relationships changed when I got sick.
Yeah.
And I think when kids go through that of watching their parent get sick, also their idea of what's important and what matters in life shifts.
Right. Well, yeah, because they also don't know, could it be me next? Because it's a hereditary thing, especially with
Hmm.
Crohn's. Um, but yeah, I have found that. I mean, my kids, they've all had their little fun, but my kids were never in trouble or
Hmm.
like, no, my kids are all, there's a couple of them need a little more motivation in their life,
Yeah.
but they're all doing what they're supposed to.
Yes.
They're either parents or my son's in the Navy. Like he's doing excellent. We just actually had this long conversation on Sunday, and he's so self-aware. I'm like, what did I do here?
I
This is
know, right?
beautiful. Like, yeah. So,
Mm.
no, yeah, I do think that because even like looking at my friends from high school, um, I'd say three out of the five that had kids, their kids are in prison. Three, or
Mm.
not even here anymore,
Yeah.
because of drugs or
I mean, it
other
could happen
things.
to any of us, but I do
Yeah.
think like when kids go through something life or death with their parents, like with their parents being sick, that it can have a positive impact on them in the way of they stop, like they get less selfish, less
Yes.
self-absorbed,
Right.
more caring, more
More
like
aware.
bigger picture thinking rather than like minute
Yeah.
little things. And then also out of because they feared they're going to lose their parent at different times, they want to be close to you,
Sure.
and I think like that has, at least for me and my kids, it's made
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
so close, like we're
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. No,
my
yeah,
kids are my best friends.
I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. Amazing.
So it doesn't have to be all bad on the kids.
No.
It can have great consequences
Hmm.
for how they be what kind of people they become.
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Well, too, real quick, even like looking at my father, he was really um mentally sick. And all of us children ended up, with this, despite me going through my health battles, we've all still really did what we were quote unquote supposed to, I guess, if that's how you look at society's way of telling you what to do.
Mm.
But we did. I mean,
But you didn't just fall apart, is what you're
we know no
saying.
one fell apart totally. Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
had some breakdowns, but no one
Oh yeah.
totally fell apart and lost it. We're all
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
so.
You're not living on the street. You're
So
not.
that's very
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I never really thought of it that way. So that's really
Yeah.
good.
Sometimes
Yeah.
that it can happen either way with parents with mental illness or addiction. You can follow their path or you can do the opposite.
Yeah.
It can
Yeah.
scare you straight.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank
Awesome.
you. I love you.
I
Thank
love you.
thank you for sharing your moments with me.
Yes, you as well. Love it. Are we in?